Before any oath is taken, before the first question is asked, there's a silence that hangs in the air. Have you ever noticed that? That heavy pause before truth speaks. It's not emptiness, it's anticipation. It's the universe holding its breath, waiting to see who among us will finally tell the truth. Because truth doesn't belong to systems or institutions, it belongs to conscience. And conscience never needs permission to speak. We live in a world that loves order, titles, ranks, and signatures. But have you ever wondered how easily order becomes illusion? When those who are meant to guard it start serving themselves, they call them watchdogs, protectors of law, defenders of justice. But what happens when the watchdog sees what the master is hiding? When duty collides with loyalty and silence becomes betrayal, it's a dangerous crossroads where obedience ends and truth begins. Courage rarely looks glamorous in real time. It looks messy, uncertain, and terrifying. Ever wondered what it feels like to speak? Knowing your words could unravel careers, reputations, or even your own peace. That's the weight carried by those who choose conscience over comfort. They don't seek applause. They simply can't sleep until the truth is known. Inside every corrupt system, there's a rhythm. A pattern of denial disguised as stability. The same files being lost. The same lies being dressed up as reports. The same people promoted for silence instead of merit. And it works until someone breaks the rhythm. One person decides to listen to that quiet voice that says, "This isn't right." That's when everything shifts, because one act of integrity can sound like thunder in a house built on deceit. Have you ever watched how people react to truth? First, they laugh, then they deny, then they attack, and finally, they listen. That's the pattern. The truth teller is first dismissed, then feared, then vindicated. But by then the price has already been paid. In isolation, in suspicion, in the quiet ache of being misunderstood. Integrity is expensive in a world addicted to shortcuts. It costs popularity, it costs belonging, sometimes it costs safety. But here's the irony. When you walk with integrity, you lose false friends and gain peace of mind. And peace, once found, is something no system can revoke. Ever noticed how corruption hides behind sophistication? It speaks in policies and procedures in language so polished it could blind you. But if you listen closely, you can always hear the tremor in its voice. The sound of something that knows it's living on borrowed time. Because lies have an expiry date, truth does not. Some say power corrupts, but maybe it's not power that corrupts. Maybe it's fear. The fear of losing control, the fear of exposure, the fear of being seen for who we truly are. And so people build walls made of protocol, paper trails, and secrecy, hoping the fortress will hold. But truth has never needed permission to enter. It slips through cracks, rides the wind of conscience, and shows up exactly when denial feels safest. There's a saying that silence is golden. But have you ever noticed that silence can also be cowardice in disguise? When silence protects the guilty, it becomes an accomplice. The real gold is in speaking, not loudly but truthfully. Even a whisper of truth can pierce the loudest lie. The brave ones who speak out are rarely thanked in their time. Their words make people uncomfortable. Their honesty disrupts routines. But history has a way of catching up. And when it does, the same crowd that doubted them calls them heroes. Sometimes truth needs just one person to hold the line. One person who says, "No, not this time." And suddenly the entire illusion begins to unravel, because truth, once released, cannot be caged again. It travels through whispers, through conversations, through the collective conscience of a people ready to awaken. It has a strange power, doesn't it? You can't see it, but you can feel it. It hums in the air. It makes you question things you used to accept. And it quietly rearranges the moral furniture of the world. Justice is not blind. It only closes its eyes when those entrusted to protect it look away first. But when even one among them dares to open their eyes again, light floods the room. That's how truth wins. Not in one grand victory, but in thousands of small awakenings, in the everyday choice to be honest, when it would be easier to stay silent. Have you ever wondered why truth always seems late? Why it arrives after the damage has been done? Maybe it's because we weren't ready earlier. Maybe truth waits until the noise has exhausted itself, until the lies have run out of breath. Then when the stage is quiet, truth walks in, calm, unhurried, inevitable. You can't bury truth forever. You can cover it with paper, you can drown it in denial, but it will rise. Because truth does not expire. It may sleep beneath layers of politics and fear, but even in sleep it dreams of justice. And when it wakes, it does not ask for permission. Have you noticed how the bravest people often look the calmest? That's because they have made peace with consequence. They understand something deeper. That silence may protect the body, but it starves the soul. Speaking the truth may shake your life, but it steadies your spirit. And what good is comfort if you lose your inner compass along the way? Every generation is tested by its relationship with truth. Some run from it, some distort it, and a few, just a few, stand with it, even when it costs them everything. Those few become the moral memory of a nation. They remind us that institutions don't make justice real. People do. So ever wondered how nations heal? It's not through denial, it's through courage, it's through people who choose to tell the truth, even when there's no applause waiting at the end. Healing begins when confession becomes culture, when honesty stops being an act of rebellion and starts being a way of life. And maybe that's what this moment in history is really about. Not just uncovering facts, but remembering who we were meant to be. Because truth is not against us, it is for our evolution. It is the mirror that refuses to flatter, the light that refuses to dim. Ever wondered why truth bites? It's not to hurt, it's to wake us up. It bites so that numbness can fade, so that moral sleep can end, so that a new awareness can take root. When the watchdogs bite, it's not rebellion, it's remembrance. It's integrity remembering its purpose, and yes, it leaves a mark. But that mark becomes a signpost of awakening. It says, here something sacred was defended. Here someone remembered who they were, because truth never punishes, it purifies, it tears down illusions, so that something honest can finally stand in their place. So let the halls echo with confession. Let the paper speak their buried words. Let the quiet ones find their voice again. What we are witnessing is not chaos. It is clarity being born. It is the sound of lies losing their grip. It is the collective conscience finding its way home. A moment of reflection when the watchdogs bite. It is not the end of order. It is the beginning of truth.